Washington's taxidermists have dragged another carcass out of the workshop. They stitched ethics reform onto the front and election law onto the back. Then they threw health care across the spine and packed appropriations underneath until the thing could barely stand. Is it a pig? Is it a goat? Or is it another legislative carcass Congress stitched together 5 minutes before the vote? Welcome back to the Crayon Republic. Uncivil Crayon here. Tonight's CGA is another edition of Political Taxidermy. Is it a pig, a goat, or a legislative carcass? Political taxidermy is Washington preserving the appearance of representative government after the actual function has died. Last time, the specimen was an empty chair pretending to represent the people. Tonight, it is the legislation itself, because clean votes create clear records. Stuffed bills create excuses and political cover. Congressional stock trading should be a simple question. Should lawmakers and their immediate families be allowed to buy individual stocks while holding public office? Write the bill, publish it, vote on it. Instead, House Republicans stitched a national voter ID requirement onto the proposal while leaving the president and vice president outside of the trading restrictions. Republicans can say Democrats voted against ethics reform. Democrats can say they rejected voter ID and the carve-outs. Maybe they believe those explanations. Maybe they do not. One stuffed vote makes it impossible to tell. A stock trading restriction and a national election law are not the same animal. The political casino has been running for years, and the whales of Washington will be featured in our future audit. But for today, we are cutting open the legislative carcass. During COVID, Congress wielded emergency relief to the federal budget and loaded the package with unrelated legislation. Horse racing regulation, felony penalties for large-scale illegal streaming, 2 new Smithsonian museums. Congress said there was an emergency. Families needed relief. Businesses were closing. People were losing jobs. The government needed funding. Fine. Then explain the horse racing. If Congress had time to regulate the racetrack, rewrite streaming law, and create 2 museums, it had time to separate major policies and hold clean votes. Those provisions were not created by the emergency. Leadership chose to load them into the same must-pass package. The crisis did not create political taxidermy. The crisis gave the taxidermist cover. Supporters could say opponents voted against COVID relief. Opponents could point to the foreign spending, unrelated laws, the size of the checks, or the rushed process. Maybe a member opposed one provision, maybe 10, maybe the whole thing. Congress gave voters 1 vote and a dozen possible excuses. One side named the creature, the other pointed at the ugliest limb, and both got to walk away claiming they fought for you. Republicans did it under unified control in 2017. A tax bill left the workshop carrying an Obamacare change and Arctic drilling. Democrats did it under unified control in 2022. A minor agency bill went into the workshop, and a federal budget warehouse rolled out carrying Ukraine aid, election law changes, retirement reform, and everything else leadership could fit through the door. Different party, same workshop. Not every package is corrupt. Not every compromise is camouflage. Some policies genuinely belong together. But unrelated laws do not become one subject because leadership needs one deadline. If congressional leaders claim 2 major policies are inseparable, give each one a recorded vote before combining them. Let the public see whether both parts can stand on their own legs before Congress sews them together. And here's how the trick works. The majority puts the popular provision on the front. The minority points to the attachments its voters hate. The majority says they voted against reform. The minority says we only rejected the poison pill. Maybe both are telling part of the truth. Maybe one member is simply following the party line. Maybe another sincerely supports one half and hates the other. A stuffed vote makes all three look identical. What they voted on, what they claimed they opposed, what the other party told you they opposed. Three different stories built around one deliberately unreadable vote. The fighting may be real. The confusion becomes political cover for everyone willing to use it. Party lines are not explanations. Stop letting the party answer for individual members. Here is the part Washington keeps pretending is complicated. It is not. One bill, one clearly defined subject, at least 72 hours for every member and the public to read the final language. A major change restarts the clock. Every major policy gets its own recorded vote. If Congress later wants to combine related measures into one final package, fine, but vote on the major pieces first. Create the record before creating the carcass. And then let representatives explain themselves without hiding behind an unrelated attachment. Put congressional term limits on the floor by themselves. An overwhelmingly bipartisan majority of the public supports them. That should not require a legislative hostage negotiation. Put congressional stock trading restrictions on the floor by themselves. Put congressional pay during government shutdowns on the floor by itself. Put voter identification on the floor by itself. Maybe they pass. Maybe they fail. Maybe your representative has a principled reason for voting no. Fine. Make them state it. Make them vote on it. Make them own it. Stop letting unrelated attachments become ready-made excuses. Stop letting both parties tell voters what the other side supposedly opposed when the vote itself cannot prove it. If members actually represent their constituents, widely demanded reforms should receive simple public votes, not delays, not shell bills, not midnight attachments, not a pig's head sewn onto a goat and carried through the chamber under the title written by the campaign department. Congress fails this audit, not because lawmakers disagree. Disagreement is part of representative government. Congress fails because it preserves a system designed to prevent voters from seeing exactly what their representatives disagree about. The pig is not the problem. The goat is not the problem. The problem is the taxidermist sewing them together and insisting you voted against the whole farm. Washington says it has a gridlock problem. But gridlock is useful when delay protects incumbents. Attachments are useful when politicians need excuses. And party warfare is useful when nobody wants to cast a clean vote. Stop stuffing the bills. Stop manufacturing political cover. Stop making the public decode legislative roadkill to determine what its government just passed. One bill, one subject, one clear record. Because a clean vote creates accountability. A stuffed bill creates excuses and political cover. Semper and Placabilis.